Hi, good morning. All right, yes, you have 5 minutes here.
Morning, Friday.
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I will share with you something. Yeah. Oh gosh. Apparently I can't. Apparently I can't. Let me see if I can share with you. Yeah, I don't know. Doesn't look like I can share with you messages. So what happened? I did a job for a company in May, and I still haven't been paid. Imagine that. And apparently, I was not the only one. So I'm trying to see if it works. No, it doesn't. Yeah. Anyways, I will share with you the image then, if you care to see that, if you care to read it. All right, let me magnify it a little bit and then I'll share it. So let me share it with you guys. Yeah, here it is. Yeah, so
Yeah, that doesn't look nice.
unfortunately, I did the job for them. I was contractor for them in May. Just one job, thanks God. Thank God, just one job. But yeah, I was like, doesn't look good, right? Like you said, yeah, unfortunately. And they stopped responding to my emails. They just ignore me, and I'm like, okay, I'll go to small claims court. I hate doing this because I'm not a lawyer. I'm not a lawyer. I don't know what to do with those courts, with those claims. But I guess I'll just have to figure it out. But yeah, look, Marines, Navy, Army, USF, a lot of these guys are crazy, right? Because if they dealing with militaries, lines, I don't know. Anyways, I'm just saying that I did a job for them in May. Now it's August, August 2nd. Yeah. I haven't been paid a penny, not a single penny. Yeah, it's really sorry. I I guess I'm probably
No, that's fine. That's
not
fine.
not supposed to share this. It's not part of the class.
I
But
don't know what you're talking about. I didn't see anything.
oh, okay, okay, all right, all right, all right. No, it's you didn't see? I shared the screen. You didn't see it?
I saw it. I'm being
Oh, you've been
facetious.
sarcastic. You've been
Yeah,
sarcastic.
sarcastic. Yes.
Ah, yeah, yeah.
Sort of like those three monkeys: hear nothing, see nothing, say nothing.
Yeah, that's your second language, right? Yeah. Oh, yeah. The three monkeys. Yeah.
Yeah, that's my motive in life. I didn't hear anything, didn't see anything, and I don't know anything.
Yeah, no, but it's I opened the message. I got the message yesterday, but I didn't see it until today. And this morning, I'm like, it's 4 a.m. I'm getting up, and I'm like you. You got at 4 a.m., right? But yeah, I'm like
Yes.
opening the message, and like, oh no, I don't want to say what I really said. That wouldn't sound nice. Would be expletives, but yeah, I'm like, fuck. You know, why? Why would you do this, right? You're talking about small amount of money. But yeah, this company is apparently, I'm not the only one who was screwed up. Apparently, many other instructors. Like you see, the Department of Labor is getting involved. So I mean, that must be serious. And I hope they will. I don't know. I hope these guys go to jail or something. Anyways, um, so they have only 4 people, or the rest of us. Will, will you just joined? Yeah.
Yes.
Good morning. I was just complaining about life. It was funny a little bit, like not being paid for the job you do. Yeah. Anyways, so let um, so it's only 4 of us. Guess we should give at least 2 more minutes, right? 2 more minutes, and then we'll start. We'll start doing slides. Oh, I mean, it's only 4 of us, so I mean, if you prefer questions, we'll do questions. If you prefer slides, we'll do slides. Whatever you prefer.
Can you repeat that, please?
Uh, no, I was saying that I was just doing estimation of the distance between me and the moon. How
No.
far? No, I'm joking. No, I'm saying, do you want to do questions or do you want to do the slides? That was the question. Because
Oh,
just
I see.
what?
I see. I think Will was wanting to catch up on the questions so that we're in the same domain in the questions as we are in the slides.
Okay, okay. I mean, if that's your preference, I will do the questions. Yeah. I don't think they really map to domains exactly, like
Okay.
by the proportion. Like,
Oh, okay.
but look, it's only speak up, Cliff. Will, what do you prefer? Questions or the slides? Hello, April.
Well,
Hey.
it looks like we're on domain 3 with the questions, but we're actually on what, domain 5 or 6 in the slides?
Slides. Yes.
We supposed to start domain 6 today, and it's very easy domain. It's testing, it's security testing. It's like, you. Well, I mean, in essence, if your company is subject to PCI, you implement PCI controls and you're being tested against PCI controls, right? If you're subject to CMMC, you implement CMMC controls, and then you're subject to being tested against CMMC, right? So that's the domain 6 is testing controls.
Wait, is this our last week or next week?
Next week.
Next week. Okay. Thanks.
No, we have, yeah, it's today and the next week is the last week. So it's your last chance.
Okay.
Unless you fly to Lima.
Mhm.
Yeah.
We have free classes. Is that what you're saying, or what are you saying?
Or if you fly to Lima, then yeah, we would have extra time to discuss things. But yeah, no, I'm joking. I'm
Yeah,
joking.
I know. Me too.
Obviously. No, but if you come to Lima, you're welcome. I will show you the city. There's not much to see. You probably will. You will see the whole city in 2 days. All you need is 2 days. And right now it's winter here, so it's not like. Anyways, um, so what's the consensus? Questions or the slides?
Can we do a little bit of both? I think a little bit of slides and majority questions.
Okay, let's do the slides first.
Everybody else
Let's
wants.
do the slides first. All right.
I think I'm okay with doing some slides as well.
Excellent, excellent. No, and I'm because Vincent would be angry if we what would I shouldn't say use words angry, but should be concerned if we don't cover the slides, right? So we need to cover the slides, and I understand him because and again, business side is whatever he's doing. I'm not sure what he's doing, but I mean, as far as the promises and obligations, yeah. So please let me know if you do not see. You're supposed to see a gentleman smiling at you and says domain 6, right?
Yes.
Excellent. Excellent. Let's move on then. So actually, give me a second. Well, you have time to read this slide.
The blank slide, actually.
Say it again.
Slide is blank.
Oh, well, yeah, that's what I'm asking you. I'm asking you if you can see it because with this platform, what's called the Google, whatever. I don't know why, but it does it all the time. Yeah. And I try it again. Click, click, click. And I go back to slides. You're supposed to see domain 6, right?
Yes.
All of you can see it. Excellent. Yeah. So and again, it's a scenario based, and we didn't really go that deep into yeah. So security audits and assessments evaluate the organizational risk, and typically, usually, and I repeated it like 20 times. And I'm sorry, I'm not a broken record, but so if your organization is subject to compliance with certain framework, then of course you would be your security audit, the security assessment would be against the specific framework, right? And if you worked in the federal government, like I did a lot, that's even more specific. So the auditors would open your system security plan, and whatever you wrote there, it would be actually tested against your specific statements there. If you say you implemented this way, so for example, if change management and you're saying you're using Jira, and auditors come, they check and they look, oh my gosh, you're not using Jira, you're using ServiceNow, then yeah, it would be fine. Anyways, you get the idea, right? So the condition, criteria, cause, effect, recommendation. So in the case of Jira versus ServiceNow, it's the problem would most likely not be that you're not doing change control. The problem would be that your statements, your implementation, control implementation statement is not accurate. That would be a big finding. Yeah. So it's evaluation of controls to meet management expectations. And I give you one example. And most of frameworks require change control. So it's one way or the other. It would have to be implemented, the change control, either Jira or ServiceNow, or you're doing some other, or maybe you're doing it manually with Excel spreadsheets. That would be acceptable too. It just needs to be done. You need to have the evidence. So, um, so if you remember, well, I don't know if you've been doing, again, in federal government environment from about 2001 to 2005, it was internal testing. And it was self-assessment 800-60, no, 800-26 internal self-assessment, and we've done it a lot. But then later, of course, external, and external, of course, makes it more difficult because, first of all, it's supposed to be independent, but usually the problem is with the interpretation. And so the auditor says, oh, you don't have this control implemented. And you says, no, I do have it implemented. It's just not the way you understand it, and so on. Yeah. Zero trust models, they erode the clear distinctions because, well, I mean, I think it's obvious. Because there's a lot of segmentation, and you don't have the traditional TMZ, you don't have the traditional segmentation, right? So, and any questions? We can go back to any slides. Just tell me. As I mentioned, this domain is fairly easy, I think, in my opinion, at least for me. So standards and framework. Frameworks should be in plural, right? Frameworks, because there are many. So yeah, normal. If you're in federal government, it's easy. It's the NIST. There's no questions. If you're a commercial entity, then most likely it would be your contractual obligations. And a lot of contractual obligations sometimes involve, they say, okay, you have to be ISO 27 or ISO 9000 compliant for quality control, for security and stuff like that. Yeah. So yeah, in the United States, these are the biggest frameworks, and RMF is used only for the federal government. Well, so you see here is P1 800-171. This was actually developed for the private enterprises that wish to be compliant with federal government. Somebody is not on mute. If you want to say something, say it now, or please mute yourself. So yeah, these are the big frameworks. I mean, in the United States, these are the major frameworks. Outside of the United States, to be honest, in the Middle East, Saudi Arabia, United Emirates, they use a lot. Actually, they kind of copycatted. They like replicated the whole United States framework. It might be. It makes sense, right? Why invent a new, why reinvent a wheel, right? Um, Give me a second, please, because sorry, I have two laptops and sometimes. Oh yeah. So let's go back. Any questions so far?
And so we can't see anything. It's
Oh,
Alec.
you cannot see anything. Okay,
Mm.
sorry. Let me open it again. Reshare. You know, this platform is weird. So stop sharing, and then I share it. Somebody posted something in the. I No, I don't see anything in the chat box. Oh. This platform is weird, because so you're supposed to be seeing now service organization control doc reports. Is that what you see or no?
Yes. Yes.
Excellent, excellent. So this is more. So if you're in the federal government, you would not be concerned with this. You don't care about this SOC thing. But if you are in private enterprise, and especially if you're like international organization, multinational presence, then definitely you would be concerned with SOC reports. So more than, I would say 150, 140 countries around the globe have adopted national legal frameworks. They based on SOC. And so it's driven by the American Institute of Certified Public Accountants. So actually, let me get, it's probably about 10% chance that's gonna be on the exam, but let me put it here for you. It's American Institute, just Institute of Certified Public Accountants. So, if it comes on the exam, you need to associate it with ICPA, ICP, ICPA, sorry, ICPA, yeah. It's not on the slides, I think. I don't know why it's not on the slides, but it is, is it? So there's a statement on standards, yeah. Standards for attestation engagement. Engage. I don't know. They should include this, right? They should include it. Huh? Anyways, it's the SS a yeah, no SS. Sorry, my Spanish. A yeah. So let's go back to the slides. Oh gosh, I guess I need to stop sharing. Share it again and do it twice because first time doesn't work, right? Yeah. Yeah. Anyways, this may come up in the exam, whatever I put on the chat box. Maybe not, but it is in my instructor guide. So service organization control reports, stock reports. It's a framework for evaluating internal controls over financial reporting. Yeah. So there is a SOC 1, which attests to the condition of the organization's internal controls over financial reporting, pure financial reporting. And then there's a SOC 1 type 2 reports on the performance of controls over a specified period. So the SOC 1 type 1 is snapshot in time, and SOC 1 type 2 is over a specified period of time. And then go to the next slide. So SOC 2 reports are also known as Trust Services Criteria reports. They include security, scalability, availability, processing integrity.
We can't see the slide.
I'm sorry, I apologize. We should go back. Okay, I'm sorry, I apologize. Let's stop and do sharing again. And then we go back to, I'm sorry. So, can you see trust services criteria?
Yes.
Okay, let's go back. I think we missed what, 1 or 2 slides? Yeah. So, hopefully, I'm saying hopefully because honestly, I don't know if it will be in the exam, but so I would focus on the service organization control acronym, SOC report. And the SOC 1 is attestation of the financial controls, internal controls, right? So SOC 2 is the trust, or I'll show it on the next slide. So SOC 2 is the trust services criteria. That will be SOC 2 report. And that includes aspects such as security, availability, confidentiality, processing integrity, and privacy, right? So there was a SAS 70 was initially used. So if this comes on the exam, what you need to remember that SAS 70 was originally used. A lot of clients would request SAS 70 report, but SAS 70 actually didn't cover the security aspects, was covering only the internal financial controls. And so moving to SOC 2, it was that was the change. So right now, SOC 2 reports are usually used instead of SAS 70. Yeah. All right. So for many reasons, actually, so European Union was leading a lot of efforts, was more progressive in the sense of the privacy controls. But with the internal controls and business regulations, United States was actually established itself as the pioneer, as the leader, right? And so the United States has led the international business and regulatory communities in establishing and using strong compliance assurance, audit, examination processes. So this led to the US-based standard SAS-70 being used extensively in the past, but not now. So, well, what do we need to know here for the exam? Let's see. So the so SAS-70 was used before. Now it's been replaced with SOC 2. And my gosh, I wouldn't try to remember most of this, but acronyms here. International Standard for Assurance Engagements. It's ISEA. STAR, you remember that's the cloud repository, right? Yeah. All right.
Can we go back to the slide where it lists the SOC 2 criteria? I thought it was one in there that I don't remember. Okay.
Which
No,
one?
you
Before?
had that one. Yes. No.
Oh, the other one? Yeah.
Yes. Yes, that one. Thank you.
The trust services criteria.
Thanks. Well, it's the one before this.
Oh, they won before that. Yeah, but according to my instructor guide, the key point here is that SAS-70 was used before, and then the SAS-70 didn't cover the actual security; it was covering only the financial controls, right? And that was the reason why there was a move to SOC 2. And SOC 3, of course, is more advanced, but it's more expensive for organizations to perform. So that's the idea.
I was in particularly talking about the next slide. I don't know why we can't just stop right there. The next slide. Right.
Yeah, this one. So that's the SOC 2 breakdown. It's a breakdown of the SOC 2 report. Yeah. So it's so the SAS-70 was criticized. So traditionally, and you think about this, when companies contract those services like cloud services, it's procurement people, right? It's not cybersecurity. I'm not involved usually. It's procurement people, finance people who do the contracting stuff, and they come up with the service level agreements and so on, right? And that's why the security was not really in the scope of all those agreements. And so SAS-70 was traditionally used, but then they moved to SOC 2 because SOC 2 actually covers. So look at this one, this slide that covers the SOC 2. So it does cover security, it does cover availability, confidentiality, processing integrity, and all those good things, right? So that's the SOC 2. Yeah. But honestly, I've never. Well, I've done I've done some lots of proposal work, and when I was with IBM, I was at IBM for about 5 years, and we did a lot of this stuff. But you don't go by SOC 2 or SOC 1. I mean, it goes by the government requirements. So, and typically, security, availability, confidentiality is not spelled like that. It's not like no, but yeah, in federal government, they just say you have to comply with 800-53 or 800-171, 172. That's how it goes. Yeah, they don't break it down into security, availability. No. All right. That's a good question, and thank you for asking. And mm, and again, remember, domain 6 is pretty small domain. It's probably going to account for only about 8% of the questions on the exam. And I can look it up exactly if you want to. Um, I have a official document that shows the breakdown. So here we have the industry and region specific standards. And of course, if you process Visa card or any kind of credit cards, then of course you're subject to PCI compliance, obviously. There's no way around. Yeah. If you're utility, then obviously you're subject to critical infrastructure protection requirements. Yeah. All right. So here we'll be talking about supply chain more in, I think, in the last domain, but here's some basic principles. And basic principles, of course, and well, you do need to be able to recognize them as valid basic principles on the exam if it shows up. And so basic principles: understand the risk, establish controls, check arrangements, continuous improvement. And usually most of this will be done at the contractual level, of course, service level agreements. So,
What does established control mean?
so if you're regulated, again, I keep on repeating this, if you're a regulated company, for example, you're subject to CMMC requirements, right? Then all of your controls will come from CMMC framework. And that will be 800-171 publication from NIST. And do I need to type this in chat box? So it's 800-171, for example, for CMMC, or 800-172 if you're a highly sensitive environment, like high security level, because 172 would contain higher controls for like high security requirements. If you're nuclear utility, then definitely 172 would be applicable to you. Yeah. So establish controls means implement controls. And you remember we talked a lot about this. Example of control would be, for example, using FIPS 140-3 level of encryption, right? Like SHA-256, AES. That would be one example of controls. Another example of controls would be, in this case, in case of supply chain security, you would need to do the SBOM, software bill of materials, for example. And software bill of materials would require your suppliers to provide you exactly with full listing of all components that is being used in the software. So, like in the past, you get your software and you don't know what's included. Maybe some dangerous components, maybe insecure component. So, SBOM, software bill of materials, will require you to have a full listing of all vendors that provided software components and full listing of all the components. So SBOM, that's an example of control, established control. So established control means, yeah, you implement those requirements. So for continuous improvement, well, yeah, we all want to improve. over time, if possible, right? If possible. All right, so let's check your understanding. That's a tricky question, right? What's the primary distinction between assessment and audit?
Steve?
Maybe. I would agree with you, usually, but
I'm going with A.
yeah, it
I want
is
to say
a.
alpha.
Oops, it is a. It's alpha, and so the official explanation that says an assessment and an audit are similar, but the primary difference lies in the level of formality. An assessment is a broader evaluation, broader, measuring the likelihood of risks and the quality of security procedures in a less formal manner. An audit is a more structured and formal process, systematically analyzing an object against predefined standards or criteria. To be honest, it doesn't make sense to me because in the federal government, it's different. In the federal government, you don't have assessment audit, you have an external, right, penetration testing. You have periodic assessments, and then you have OAG, the Office of the OAG, audit, but you don't really have the. So, but yeah, I think it depends on the environment, right? But the correct answer is A. So, all right. Conduct security controls testing. So you would evaluate the threat landscape, ensure business logic, determine security requirements. And of course, that would always be your, so usually 99% of the time, your assessments, your assessment or the audit would be against the security requirements. So, and most of the auditors would assess your security against your specific, your actual statements. Typically, you would have a system security plan. You would have your documentation where you document those implementations of security controls, and then you'll be tested against those specific implementations. So if you look at the right-hand side, try to remember that. It says examination, interview, test, vulnerability assessment, penetration test. Which in the federal government, again, it would be different. It would be documentation review, it would be test, and you would be interviews. So there are, in the federal government, in the United States, there are 3 types of testing, usually. Interviews, the actual test, physical test, whatever, and the examination of documentation. But for the exam purposes, remember, examination, interview, test, vulnerability assessment, and pen test. So examination would include, of course, looking at system specifications, architecture, design documents, technical manuals, and a lot of private companies that would be problematic, right? Because a lot of stuff would not be documented. So actually, in the federal government, they have more discipline. They have more. They apply more effort. Well, they hire contractors like me, and they pay enough money to document it all. But in private companies, they usually they don't have this full documentation, so it can be problematic, challenging. Yeah. But for the exam purposes, yeah. So log reviews used to be manual effort, right? But nowadays there's so many products and so much money is being spent on log reviews with all the CM systems. I mean, Splunk, QRadar, they charge so much money. It's unbelievable. And it is required by most regulations. So a lot of companies, for that reason, they implement policy of deleting everything quickly. They don't want to keep anything. We want to delete as soon as we can, legally. Yeah. So yeah, in the perfect world, everything should be driven by a policy. A lot of time, obviously, policies are deficient. They're not complete. They don't. Oh, the policies are too generic, and then the procedures that are being established in support of policies, they're just not. They're not adequate. So right. So the log security there. In the past, like 30 years ago, um, the logs were stored on the same servers that produced the logs. And of course, there was a requirement to have a dedicated log server. And logs would be stored at different dedicated server. And nowadays, yeah, most of organizations, they regulated organizations, they store logs on dedicated servers, dedicated systems with the ability to do the real-time queries and so on, right? Like CM tools. So if you remember the context for this slide, and the context for this slide is security assessment, right? So we're talking about log reviews as part of the assessment, specific testing done as part of the assessment, and interviews as part of the assessment. So interviews are used to identify the difference between document processes and the work performance. So your auditors would come and they'll look and say, look, you claim to use Jira for the change control, but we don't see Jira installation in your environment. You don't have Jira. So how, and that of course would be the huge discrepancy, right? Or you say, oh, we use ServiceNow, we use what's it called? Yeah, the Remedy. We use Remedy, and then auditors would look and say, oh, look, you don't have Remedy. Or we talk to your personnel, and they don't say that they use Remedy. They say they use Jira. So that would be discrepancy. So testing would depends on the environment, obviously, right? some cases would involve actually ethical penetration testing, which means yeah, and I think, I'm not sure if you have a slide here. There's a slide in my instructor guide that brings up the case of Coal Fire. And Coal Fire, it's a company. They did pen testing for Iowa, state of Iowa, and 2 guys were arrested actually. And because of the contractual discrepancies or something, and apparently they did something illegal, but according to the contract Coal Fire had, it was legal, it was allowed, it was included. But yeah, they were arrested. They said hard time in jail for a couple of days. Yeah. Anyways, testing, if it's a application, then of course it would be application testing, would be sometimes could be code review with tools like Web Inspect and things like that. Yeah. Any questions so far?
What would be considered ethical in substance testing?
So when you look at the words penetration testing, historically, that means you remember we looked at that CVE .mitra.org website where they describe all those vulnerabilities. So there are people, I've done it myself. We do it manually, or you use tools like CrowdStrike, or you use Metasploit. There's a lot of tools that implement those CVEs vulnerabilities. They actually have those plugins and stuff. Or even if they don't have plugins, we can manually do things. And so ethical means legally permissible, covered by a contract, legal contract. And obviously, if there's no legal contract, then it would not be ethical because it would not be covered by. So if you're a federal government manager, for example, and you sign a contract, you say, yes, we want you to do this, then it's ethical for the company to do it. But if there's no contract, if nobody signed the contract, give permission, then it's not ethical, obviously, because yeah, you breaking systems, you wreaking havoc. I mean, yeah, it's not ethical. So yeah, so ethical means, I think in most cases, means legal. They should use word legal instead of ethical, right? Legal penetration testing, like contractually allowed penetration testing. So. All right, let's go to the next slide, 25. So they cover here in more detail. So chartering is important, means you agree on what exactly stakeholders want to be done, right? Exactly. What do you want to be done as a client? Your client, your federal government manager, I come to you, you contract me. What exactly do you want me to do? And that's chartering. So discovery meaning right now it's probably, even now it's still actual. Yeah, it's even now, even with cloud environments. Did I show you a website called Greyhat? Let me stop sharing just for a moment. Yeah, yeah. So let me now. I'll go back to sharing with you. So I showed you a couple of websites, I think, if I'm not mistaken. So Greyhat it's indexing service. They show you the Azure blobs, Amazon buckets and stuff that are open. And some of these are open by design because people want to share them, right? And some of these are open by mistake. So if you, gosh, let me see. NSA buckets, open data. Yeah, something like that, right? So here's an example of top secret Army NSA data found in the public internet, right? So there are services like gray hat warfare. It's one example. Another example is Shodan. So for example, we can search for webcam XP, for example. Yeah, why not? And so imagine all of the webcams that are not secure, exposed. You can look them up here. You can actually look at the images and stuff. And I'm not even paying for this account, and it's free account. If you pay for the account, you can do amazing things there. Search for amazing things. Yeah, you like what else? For example, web services, Wisdom. So you can look up Wisdom services, and that's a web services, and you can see them all here, right? It's 293,000 of open Wisdom services, and some open by design, but a lot of them not supposed to be exposed to the internet. It's misconfiguration, but it's exposed. It's yeah. I mean, if you go to, and I don't want to look anything American because I don't want to have problems with the American government, but let's say site root. So we only search Russian or Indian is better probably. And then file type WSDL, right? WSDL Wisdom. And so there's a lot of exposed services that not supposed to be exposed. And how do you know if they're supposed to be exposed or not? You open them up and you see the, well, a little bit slow. If you go to the bottom of the page when you open that, if you go to the bottom, you will see the endpoints, right? And if the endpoint is not routable IP address, then definitely it shouldn't be exposed. In this case, the endpoint is routable, right? Yeah. So it's open by design. But if you go to some of this, like some of this will not be routable. It'll be like 192 or service unavailable. Anyways, sorry, one little deviation. Let's do 6 minutes break. And after 6 minutes break at 8 o'clock, do we continue with the slides or do you want to do the questions? You decide, you tell me. So we are on slide 25. Yeah. We can do the check your understanding before. Do you see it or no? Check your understanding. It says 6.2.2.
You're not
We
sharing.
can see the screen.
Oh, it's like it's widescreen again. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. I don't know. We should next time we should use a different platform. We should use this Google Meet. It just doesn't work well. Did you see the wisdom sites I showed you? Oh, no. Okay. Let's do the check your understanding thing, and then let's take a little break.
Charlie.
Mhm. Absolutely. It's a good choice. Yeah. All right. Let's take a break. Um, to be honest, I don't have water here. I need to get water. That's where it is. And yeah. So let's reconvene at 8:05. So let's actually take a little bigger, a little longer break, please. I don't know if any of you stepped away. We'll wait 3 minutes. Yeah. While we're waiting, feel free to share your comments or ask questions or whatever.
Yeah, I actually studied that coal fire penetration case study as part of one of my college classes. It's pretty interesting. Basically, just a little territory beef between the Iowa judicial branch and then the local sheriff. So
Tell us more about this, because to be honest, I don't know much.
well, so we talk about having a rules of engagement for penetration testing, right? I mean, that's requirement.
Yeah.
What you can and can't do, and then the authority to do so. That was it was all centered around in my class. Basically, they were to test the security of the courthouses in Iowa.
Yes.
And they did have authority from the Iowa judicial branch to conduct break-ins, physical break-ins, to include lockpicking. And they got caught breaking into a door of the Dallas County courthouse. They were picked up by the sheriff's deputies, and then they showed their documentation showing their authority to do so. And then the first set of deputies were okay with it, well, understood, but then the local county sheriff got involved and refused to, according to the stuff I'd read, refused to recognize the authority of the Iowa judicial people to conduct the testing on the courthouse. So then he arrested them, and then they had a felony on the record. So,
my gosh, it's amazing. Yeah. No, it needs to be, have to be very careful. I remember teaching my daughter how to use shims, and then I suddenly read that in Virginia it's actually illegal to teach your daughter how to use shims. I'm like, oh my gosh. You know what shims are, right?
Yeah, that's lockpicking. Yeah.
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 Yeah, it's no, because it's a lot of conferences, security conferences, they do classes like that. And I was actually in Bogota. There was a security conference at Microsoft building, and Microsoft sponsored it. And there was a whole room dedicated to lock picking, shims, and stuff like that. And I'm like, oh my gosh. And I'm like, is it legal? I don't know. I don't know. You have to be careful. You have to be careful. You don't want to be locked up by accident for no reason, right? Anyways, guys, your choice now. Do we want to continue with the slides, or do we want to do the questions, practice questions? And we're not gonna do poll. Or should we do poll? I don't know. Just speak up. I guess we can do poll. Let's do poll, right? So slides or no slides? And both are good options, but this time domain 6 is kind of basic. It's, well, at least for me, because I've done penetration testing so many times. So slides, questions. All right. And but maybe for some of you, maybe it's not so obvious, not so easy, right? The pen testing stuff or the testing stuff. It's not just pen testing, it's testing in general, right? But yeah, I'm sorry for those guys that got arrested in Iowa. It's like, it's horrible, right? I need to click launch. So sorry, I didn't click launch. I did click launch now, so it should be active. No, it's horrible because, I mean, I did a lot of well, not a lot, not too. I did about 7 years of pen testing work, and I imagine if I no, we had a one lady worked for us. She was a former CIA officer, and she did social engineering. And I can imagine, like, she did some stuff, like, my gosh, definitely could be arrested many times, but she was not arrested. She was okay. Anyways, seems like majority of you want to go do the questions, and let's do questions because we can catch up with the slides later. That's okay with me, as long as it's okay with you guys. So let's see, what's the current count? Yeah, the silent majority doesn't say anything, so I'll go with the vocal minority, I guess. And I'm opening the practice questions. Sorry, let me. Basic guides. Practice questions, yeah, the practice questions. So these supposed to be at the question number 120, according to my records. Let me open it and I'll share with you. Yeah. And I'm opening it. I'm just looking for the right question. In case you're wondering. Oh my gosh. I'm saying oh my gosh because somebody is like outside. Some cars are honking. Was it an alarm system? I don't know what it is. Yeah, so we're in question 120 and it's domain 3, you're right. But remember, it's not exactly mapped. No, it's not mapped exactly because we only have about 220 questions, I think, or maybe 200, and there are 8 domains. So it's not mapped precisely. No. Anyways, question 120. Yeah, you can see it, right? Sorry, and I'm asking you because this platform is not always
Yes.
it's not always working well. So it's like I don't know if it's my laptop, my Windows 11, or if it's the Google Meet problem. I'm not sure what it is. Anyways, question 120. Personal screening, right? Not personal, personnel. Sorry, personnel screening. Well, I'm sorry, I gave you the by accident. I gave you away the answer. So it is correct answer is Bravo. It's personnel screening, RFID door access control systems, perimeter fencing. So all controls in this response are preventative in nature. So, anyways, I apologize. I accidentally gave you away the correct answer. The correct answer is Bravo. Okay. All right. I will not do it on the next one, domain 4. So now you have to figure it out yourself without my.
It's A or B. I'm leaning more with B.
Let's wait
Or
for
A.
another. Let's wait for another 5 seconds.
I
Somebody.
think it's A. I really do.
Hey,
Well, your gut feeling
The
is wrong.
CD is in that the CD is the carrier detect aspect of it. And they're asking for the CS component.
You know, networking never been my forte. It has never been my
carrier
forte.
sense, isn't it?
So, but the correct answer is Bravo. The correct answer, the carrier or signal indicates activity on a network cable. Carrier sense, CS, is looking for the presence of a signal, and nodes will not transmit until the signal is gone, denoting that the transmission has been completed. So, but honestly, networking has never been my forte. I'm always been with networking. I never get the right answers, to be honest. So,
Hmm.
so the correct answer,
Oh,
question 121, the correct answer is Bravo. Okay, in case you're wondering.
Of course, that would be.
So we're looking at question 122.
Alpha.
Um, Alpha is an excellent choice. Yes, it is Alpha. It's kind of easy, to be honest here. Yeah, it's one of the easy questions. Yeah. Well, at least for me. I'm for me, application stuff is much easier. I've done development, software development, and I'm still doing. I'm doing some Python stuff, and like so. For me, it's kind of easier. Networking stuff for me never been easy. I, I've never understood networking, to be honest.
Beta.
Yeah. So we're looking at 122, right? No, 123, right?
Yes.
123 question.
Delta. That's a question there.
Yeah, indeed.
The correct answer is delta, yes. And what it says here, well, officially there is no layer 2.5.
Mm,
No layer 2.5. MPLS is often referred to as a layer 2.5 that operates across both layers 2 and 3. And again, it's network stuff, so I wouldn't know. I wouldn't know. As of 2024, there are how many public root domain name servers? So there's no logic. You just have to know it. Definitely, it's not 1 million, right?
yeah,
Well, yeah, it's definitely not 1 million.
I think it's A.
Yeah, A sounds more plausible to me too. It is A. It is A. Correct answer is alpha. And it's kind of, yeah, like I said, there's no logic or anything. You just have to kind of, but 1 million definitely would not be correct. And there's no 1 million of root domain name servers.
$125. Bravo.
Any other opinions? It is correct answer is Bravo, even though, to be honest, I'm a little bit surprised. Yeah. So.
Cliff, why did you say it was Bravo? What made you think it was like?
Because it's all right. Common name, CN, organizational unit, and also the distinguished name.
Mhm.
I noticed those ones. RDN, I've never heard of, so that's why I went with Bravo.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. No, because if you read the question carefully, it says
Not
include all but
but
one
one.
of the.
Yes.
Yeah, so it's the
Okay.
reverse logic, right? So that's why. So, and to be honest, most of us, how many of you used Open LDAP? Like, there's a command line utility on Unix, search and up, and so. I mean, most of you probably never used that, right? It's in an Active Directory, which is the most common implementation of LDAP. You use the graphical interface, so you don't see those. Yeah, I mean, most of Unix, Windows admins would tell you, "Oh yeah, organizational unit, I know what it is," but the rest of it is kind of a little bit murky. All right, we are on the question 126, right? And it's a long question. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
I'm gonna go with Charlie.
I'll give another 20 seconds for people to read because it's a long question. But the correct answer is Charlie. Yes, it is correct answer. Yeah. I should say the correct answer. Yeah. Sorry, my English is.
That's because it didn't translate. Didn't translate it right. That's why it's correct. The DNS.
Oh, the previous one.
Yeah.
Um,
What does the instructor guy say?
it's I don't like the question, to be honest. It's
Because they could be having issues also. The web server that's hosting the site might be having issues, or there might be a router in between that's going haywire.
that's why I don't like the question. I don't like how it's phrased because maybe there's data exfiltration going on with using
Well,
DNS
if
server.
they
It's just being overloaded.
if the web server is down, then they wouldn't have intermittent problems. They would have no access altogether.
No, but they're talking about external only.
Yeah, that's true. I understand that, Will, and some other people could have it cached also. So C is the better answer. But thanks for pointing
Right.
that out.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I don't like the question, to be honest. I don't like how they phrase it, but hey,
It's a good CISSP question, though.
they want questions to be confusing. They want it on purpose. They actually do. I'm serious. That's I was at those workshops where we were crafting the questions, and they were like, "Oh no, this question is not good because it's too straightforward. You have to make it more convoluted." And I'm like, "Okay, all right. What can I say? You're the boss." But yeah, they want questions to be convoluted. So we're looking at 127, right? And it's a long question, which I hate because, oh gosh.
And because of the last sentence, I would rule out, let me make sure I say it correctly, Alpha and Charlie. So that leaves either Bravo or David, Delta. I'm going to say Delta.
Um, so, I mean, if you go by exclusion, right, would A be plausible answer? Sporadic downtime. So when you see the sentences like sporadic downtime, that's like makes it suspect right away, right? So if you do by exclusion, A would not be a good answer, right? Would B be a good answer? There's a misconfiguration in the user access privileges in the LDAP
That's a good
directory.
answer.
Huh?
That is a good answer.
It's possible answer, but that would be consistent, right?
Hmm.
Because it's not indicative of the description. The description is the complaints are not universal. Many users experiencing no issues at all. So yeah, it's kind of tough one, but yeah, Delta is the correct answer.
That's probably the best answer.
Yeah, Delta is the correct answer, even though I don't like it to be honest, but it's the best. All right. So, do you have enough time on this one? Can we move on, or do we need a little more time to look at this?
I'm good.
Well, why wouldn't like it not be querying the responses? Is it because
No, I mean, okay. Personally, I would go with Bravo. To be honest, I would go with Bravo based on description and based on my experience. Based on my experience managing networks and stuff, I would go with Bravo. But the correct answer is Delta.
The reason why Charlie probably isn't correct
mhm,
is many users experience no issue at all. So I'm going to take that as
queer? Okay,
90% of them, they never have an issue. Where network congestion,
Right.
it's going to be different people, different times.
so it can't be the query then. It can't be it, right?
Okay, let me read it for you. What the official says. The official guide says for Charlie. Charlie, it says network congestion causing delays in LDAP query responses could result in intermittent access issues. However, this would more likely affect a larger number of users and possibly other network services, not just LDAP authentication, right? So they're saying it would affect larger number of users and would affect other services if the Charlie was the case.
Right. Okay.
But the description does not indicate it. So that's why, yeah. No, and again, I admit, I admit it. I would go with Bravo, but Bravo is not correct. No. So,
Mhm.
all right. Question 128. And I'm not faking it. I'm telling you honestly. I mean, some of these questions, I wouldn't guess right. So question 128. Mm, I'm sorry, guys. If I'm just afraid to mute myself. If I mute myself, I'm afraid the platform will cause some hiccups or something. So I'm just, anyways.
Layer 3 deals with IP.
Correct. Correct.
TCP's layer 4. So that rules that out.
Mm-hmm.
And they're asking what of these issues at layer 3.
Yeah, TCP definitely is ruled out. The delta is not correct. Yeah.
And protocols are up further along. So alpha.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Charlie. And the explanation here, misconfigured routing protocols can lead to inefficient routing paths. So misconfigured routing protocols can lead to inefficient routing paths, causing packets to take longer routes or even loop indefinitely. This inefficiency can result in network congestion and packet loss, making it a plausible cause at layer 3. Yeah, that's the official explanation. Do we need more time at 128 or no?
29, I think it's A.
A is excellent
A.
choice.
Okay.
Alpha is excellent choice, yes. That's a distance vector. You remember the hops? How many hops? So yeah. So we're looking at the question 130. Okay.
Yes.
I think that one is C.
C, Charlie. Charlie is excellent choice. And to be honest, I would miss it probably. I'm just not good with networking. So, but yeah, Charlie is the correct answer. Yes.
Okay.
I believe that one
Yeah.
is Charles. So
Do we have consensus?
Mm.
Anybody wants to choose something else?
131 alpha.
Mm, mhm.
131, yeah. The discover is part of it, but the question is which of the following is not?
C.
So
This was the
Charlie is the
request.
correct. Yeah, Charlie is the correct one because it's not. So please, when you doing the exam, please read carefully whether it's a if there's not involved, it's reverse logic, right? So IPsec, you remember?
I want to say 50.
My gosh,
Yeah,
I'm going with Delta.
I'm amazed, guys, because I wouldn't know this. To be honest, I don't remember what's the ID for age, but it is Delta. It is Delta, yes. But I'm amazed at you guys. But yeah, then again, like I admitted, routing, networking, it's not my forte.
Yeah, ESP is 50 and then AH is 51.
I can
You
do
know,
anything, but networking is for me. Oh my
Right.
gosh.
The only reason I got that is because one of the people in our group posted their study document, and that's listed like right under the section for common, where he's got his common ports. So ESP and AH. So I've been reviewing all that. So that's the only reason I got it. So,
but it's not port. Is it? Say port? No.
right.
Not
I'm just
port,
saying he
it's ID.
included it. I'm just saying he included it in his document.
Right. No,
underneath all the well-known ports. So
the ports actually no. I know the ports. I know
right.
Well, not all of the ports, but quite a few. But the ID, protocol ID? No, I don't.
No, he wasn't associating with it. I'm just saying it was grouped together.
Right. No, but yeah. Anyways, if you can try to remember this for the exam, guys, yeah, it's great for you. It's so the correct answer is delta. It's delta, yeah. And to be honest, the last couple of weeks I've been on medication. This climate is killing me. So I'm taking medications, and so maybe I'm not as vivid as usually I am. Anyways, question 133.
Diffie-Hellman.
That's excellent choice. Yeah. And remember, we discussed that, and I think he's a genius. That Hellman is like, and it's not mayonnaise, by the way. You remember, it's not mayonnaise. That sounds like mayonnaise, right? No, but I mean the whole PKI thing. I think it's in the level of geniuses. How they invented this, yeah. So question 134. So by the way, 133, all of the responses are valid ones. So it's kind of tough one, right? Because AES is correct, El Gamal is correct, RC4 is correct. What's the best answer is Diffie-Hellman, yeah.
Yeah, the only difference between, well, not the only difference, but DH and El Gamal is, according to the study document I have, is that it provides key agreement with no prior key exchange for Diffie-Hellman.
Right. So I mean, yeah, that's one is very tough one, very tough question, because all of the answers they could possibly be correct, but no, yeah, Diffie-Hellman is the correct one. All right, question 134. Actually, some people I personally, when I use TrueCrypt and others, I try to use non-standard encryption algorithms. It's probably a futile attempt. Who's your enemy, right? If your enemy is the federal government, you have no chance. But if your enemy is some ransom group or somebody, yeah, then makes sense. So question 134.
Sure, it's alpha. That makes sense.
Well, let me read the explanation. IPsec works at the network layer, so it does not necessarily require the application to support encryption at the presentation layer. Transport mode is most appropriate to secure traffic transiting a local network segment. So it's delta. Okay, correct answer. Alpha, what it says here, it says at IPsec, as IPsec works at the presentation layer and encrypts packets, it is possible to apply IPsec in transport mode using it to encrypt traffic across the network without requiring support from the application. The point is, application doesn't have to be involved. That's the point. So application may or may not be involved. IPsec will still work. That's the beauty of it. And it's logical, right? Because if you think 99% of use cases for IPsec is what? Site to site, right? It's not application to application, it's site to site. It's not your browser connecting to some remote server. No, it's 99% you connecting to your federal government client network. You establish site to site connection, then you tunneling. Yeah, I don't know if it makes sense.
Mhm.
Say it again.
C. C. I was on 35. Sorry.
Which question we're talking about?
35. I was thinking
Ah,
about
135. Yeah, the
thinking
correct
about
answer is alpha.
I'm
Alpha.
going with alpha. Yeah.
Alpha is the correct answer. Yes, the MAC address.
Well, I know that's on the layer 2, but it does work with layer 3, right? For the logical link piece. And I guess that wasn't even mentioned. So maybe that's why I'm
Okay. If you wish, I will read the explanation.
okay.
The media access control MAC address is the physical address of a network interface card. As final delivery must be a fixed address, MAC is a layer 2 process and is used by a layer 2 switch.
Mhm.
So that's what it says.
I think I was reading more into it, honestly.
To be honest, this one I haven't read yet. Well, I mean, I read it before, but not this time.
See? See?
You're
I agree.
fast. You're fast. Oh my gosh. It is correct. It is C. We are on question 137. In case you are lost or you stepped away, we are on question 137. So, and I will read the explanation and then you will choose the correct answer. MAC address security features such as port security can limit the number of MAC addresses allowed on a switch port. So, MAC address security features such as port security can limit the number of MAC addresses allowed on a switch port. If this limit is reached, it prevents additional devices from connecting, causing connectivity issues for those specific devices. Right?
Bravo.
So, Bravo, absolutely. Bravo is the correct answer. Yes, Bravo. We are on question 138.
A.
So you remember those rings? The rings? Yeah. A is a good answer. Yes. Single
Yes.
mode. Yes, absolutely.
D is definitely not the answer you want to tell your employer if you want to
The job.
continue to be employed.
You're right.
Well, I don't know. I mean, I actually passed the exam on it was like a SAN storage stuff. Yeah. That was a big subject. Single mode or multi mode, plastic mode. Yeah. Plastic mode. There's no plastic mode, but yeah. It's,
Bravo on 139.
139
Set-
fiber distributed data interface is the best answer. Yes, it is. It is 139. Bravo. The correct answer. Yes. Sounds like you're ready to pass the exam, man.
Bravo again.
Any other opinions? And I'm being provocative. No, Bravo is a good answer. Yeah, Bravo. And I'm just thinking it would be maybe we should give a chance to others to express their opinions. So we're in the question 141.
Delta.
That's a very tricky question, right?
Hmm. Yeah, that makes sense. Does make sense.
Do we have consensus?
Yep.
Okay, delta is the correct answer. Yes, absolutely. Oh my gosh, I don't know.
Early.
Yeah, it was long before G5, right? G5 was like 10 years after that, and definitely was after the 3G. So, yeah, Charlie is a good answer. Yeah. It's kind of logical because you think, I mean, if you lived in the United States, if you used the Verizon, whatever the networks you use, right? You probably remember advertising. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'm kind of surprised at this question because node functionality is managed. I'm like, yeah. But yeah, that's the right answer. Bravo. Node functionality is managed. And the explanation says the control plane, it controls the network functionality and programmability and is connected via southbound interface to the data plane. I'm like, yeah. Should I read it again? Because it's very confusing, to be honest. So let me read it again. The control plane that controls the network functionality and programmability and is connected via the southbound interfaces to data plane. Yeah.
Was the control plane the one that was in the middle that went east to west?
To be honest, I don't remember the diagram.
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now. So the application plane, which sits at the top, right? Then you get the control plane and then the data plane. So the way they explained it in the guide is the application plane, load balancer, firewall, control plane is your SDN controller, and then data plane contains all your switches and other network equipment. So that would be east to west, I think is the data plane. North to south is between application and control. No, wait, northbound. Sorry. Forget it. I'm just messing all that up. Northbound is APIs is what they talk about between the application and control plane. Southbound is between the control and data plane.
Okay. Okay. Sounds good.
Mhm.
Yeah. Okay.
But the control plane was in the middle, right?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, it's only for the exam purposes because in real world it doesn't exist. I mean, it exists, but it's a conceptual construct. It's conception. It's not like you log in into AWS. Do you see control plane there? No, you don't, right? So, anyways, um,
What did we say 4144 was? What was the answer?
one we are not at 45 yet.
No, 144. What was the
144. Yeah.
Haven't answered one.
Oh, okay.
That's
Yeah.
the one we're looking at right now.
Yeah, I was still.
Yeah. No, we're at 143, and the correct answer is Bravo at 143, in case you missed it. So 144, there's more than one correct answer, right? Select, you see it says select all that apply.
So B, G.
And by the way, for the exam purposes, do remember that north-south traffic is what goes outside or inside from outside, right? Do remember that. And west-east is internal traffic. So that's all you need to remember for the exam. Don't try to remember any more. Yeah. So 143, right?
A, D.
What? I'm
Um,
sorry. So okay. Let's go to 144 question, right?
let's try A.
So select all that apply, right? So it's more than one correct answer.
And I want to say it's A. I don't definitely, I would.
You definitely want to optimize it, yes. You definitely want to optimize for individual applications.
It reduces
And
management cost.
supposedly, yes.
Mhm.
So Bravo is supposedly correct. And I'm saying supposedly for the exam purposes, it's correct. It's the Bible truth for the exam purposes. Not in real
I just
world.
maybe A and B I would select.
So, yeah. And you should select Delta also.
Oh,
So Alpha, Bravo, and Delta. So question 144, Alpha, Bravo, and Delta. Sorry. In Spanish, L is a palatable sound, so it sounds very soft. That's why I said Delta, not Delta. But yeah. Anyways, here in question 145. We have about 80 questions left to be reviewed. So your network engineer has configured a firewall rule blocking port 50 to 100.
it's
Oh my
gotta
God.
be A. It's gotta be A, I think.
Well,
53 is DNS, so that's included.
SMTP is a port 23, right?
25.
25.
25, right? Sorry, 25.
Un-
Yeah. So POP 3 and IMAP, it's like what, 140 something?
143, I think, or 147.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right, but IMAP is on the application level, so that wouldn't be it. So that's why I just, oh wait, at the,
So what's in the
DNS,
range of 50 to 100? DNS is port
DNS.
3,
DNS,
right?
yes, that's 53. Yes, it'd
That's
be
for
DNS.
53, so that would definitely be blocked.
Mhm.
Which kind of dumb question, but I mean, that's what you should expect on the exam. Dumb questions.
But the way they phrase it, it sounds like if you weren't familiar with reports, there could be more than one answer. Because it says services, not service.
Yeah.
Well, because yeah, and you remember, IC Square wants the questions to be confusing by design on purpose. They want the questions to be confusing. They don't want questions to be straightforward. So I mean, yeah, and for that reason, yeah. But yeah, SMTP is port 25, absolutely. And POP 3 and IMAP is something 140 something. So let's do a couple more questions before we shout Happy Friday. Question 146.
Yeah, D.
D.
Yeah. D is the best answer. And yeah, it's just common sense, right? Because if you see word data, that doesn't fit into this category. So. And people and objects also, because so there's a, it's like a lingua franca. Lingua franca is like a standard language, right? So you know that people and objects, people sounds logical to a lot of people, but yeah, people is not used in this context usually as word. So question 147. Which type of accept?
Discretionary.
Mm,
I agree.
mm.
I'm gonna go with logical.
Yeah. So the official feedback says there are two of the characteristics defined in the US government's federal identity, credential and access management roadmap, FICAM, that are components of logical access control system. So alpha is the best answer here, or at least according to the official guide. Yeah.
Because it's based on their role in the organization, so therefore the logic is already set about who gets what access based on their role.
Right.
So I wish.
Although I did think it was discretionary at first because it did say authorize deny an individual's ability.
But remember,
I mean,
Josh used discretionary last night for his home system.
Yeah. So in perfect world, the question should indicate that it's a FICAM context, right? FICAM, the Federal Identity, Credential, and Access Management Roadmap, the U.S. government publication, but it doesn't indicate it. It makes it a little bit, not a little bit, makes it difficult to guess because there's no context, right? So, yeah, I wish it was a better phrase, but
Is it because they use, well, access control system instead of access control model?
I was thinking that too. And then they didn't have a lot to say about a person being able to manage the control. So
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Right. It didn't.
that's a good point. That's a very good point. Yeah, I agree. Very good point. So sometimes questions, well, and I think I don't think I know this. They make questions confusing on purpose. So they want you to choose the best answer. So if you look, yeah, they expect you to be an Einstein, right? So the last question, 148. Well, the last question for today. Yeah.
B.
Charlie.
So I'll read the explanation.
Material equipment, it would be Charlie. Physical.
I'll read the explanation.
I'm off today.
PACS, physical access control systems, PACS, are used to manage physical movement for a given environment. Well, that's the explanation that I have here. So, all right, we'll stop here. Have a great weekend. Happy Friday. And yeah, thank you for being with me. This was a good session.
All right. Thanks, Alex. Thank
Have
you.
a good weekend, everyone.
All right.
You too.
Yep. Thanks.
Yeah, have a great weekend. Bye.
Good morning.
Good morning. Yeah. Well, if you remember what I told you in the beginning, it's not really good morning, but yeah.
Okay. Bye.